Hello everyone, welcome back to FPL BlackBox. It's the Backstage, Mark. We haven't done one of these in ages.
I know, it's the informal backstage chat that we do, and we held on for the final whistle in what was quite an extraordinary Champions League game that we just did a 2-hour episode during.
I know, it's kind of like, obviously we're big football fans, so when you miss a thriller like that, you kind of think, whoops. Do you see Andy Slippers got stick because he missed the Liverpool game yesterday because he was watching his son play football in like an actual like
Oh, that's fair enough.
No,
Right.
Yeah, I think he just tweeted back saying Twitter amazes me sometimes.
Yeah, what he meant to do. Yeah. Yes, so we're here answering questions over the next, 20 minutes, 30 minutes to see how long before I wilt.
Yeah,
we'll see.
20, 30 minutes. If you want to drop your questions in, you can. If you want to drop us a super chat, you can as well. I think they're open. We appreciate the support and we'll definitely answer that question as well. But yeah, we'll just nice and informal. We'll just chat about stuff. I mean, neither of us really know what we're doing with our team, so it feels a bit funny trying to give advice, doesn't it? On these kind of, I mean, you're taking a -12 and getting Jota and triple Everton.
I don't know what I'm doing yet. I don't know. And you're playing a bench boost next week with Huang on the bench. So, you know.
Brownhill, Huang and...
But, you know, you've got a fantastic rank. I'm off the back of a good game week, so we do some things right sometimes. So, so I think there's a few questions here, not super chats yet, but Steve's asking an evening one. Although KDB looked knackered tonight, will he score more points than Kane if fit for the rest of the season? Surely Pep can't sub him after tonight. It's an interesting one, because we talked a bit about that in the show when news broke about the goings on. KDB was off on 72 minutes, I believe. Then City scored to go 2 ahead on aggregate, and then Madrid turned it round. What's your take on KDB now? Because my immediate reaction is, oh, great, he's not going to get rotated in 38 now. And maybe Pep now will just go big, go strong over all games and not sub him. But do you think there's fitness doubts? Do you think he's got to rest him? Well, not rest him totally, but take him off early in every game anyway?
I mean, I guess the signs to it are... has he gone off just because of fatigue? Because there isn't a huge amount of turnaround till the next game, but you've got to think they can't not win the league now. You know, if they actually go for a trophy-less season, it's been a disaster for them. So, you know, knocks out the FA Cup and the Carabao Cup, which they always win. They haven't even won that. Out the Champions League again in the semi-final, which, you know, that's becoming a bit of a problem for Pep, really, because the expectation from the City owners has to be they win the Champions League, you know, and the fact they haven't already, and the fact he's struggled across multiple different teams now, you know, before the Barcelona days, you know, is becoming a problem. So, I mean, anyway, they have to win the league. De Bruyne has to play. He's their best player, but you've got to think it's going to take it out of them a bit, right? Losing in the manner they have. A City, is it like a wounded beast? Are they more dangerous or are they less dangerous now? I don't really know how to.
People who watched the match, not us because we were too busy doing content, not like FBL Focal, you know, part-time content creator. Exactly. What's he think he's doing? He's saying now Mahrez looks a better bet. So obviously the KDB substitution and the performance and the manner of his withdrawal, maybe there is something more to it. I mean, I do think that comment about he has some niggles in his ankle, I do think that KDB is carrying some problems. I know KDB himself has spoke out recently about he feels okay at the moment, he feels fit at the moment, but I don't know. I've got my doubts about bringing him in, especially if it involves selling Kane, as the question says, as Steve's question says. I'm torn on it. I'll need to watch tonight's games back and make my mind up, I think. But if Focal is saying that he would prefer Mahrez, then there's got to be something in it in terms of that substitution, more in it than perhaps just resting him fatigue-wise.
I hate Mahrez. We all know that. We all established
my
hatred for Mahrez. Not as a player. I think he's one of the most talented players in the league. I think he's a joy to watch. FPL-wise, I've always hated him. But he's been interesting because he's only been playing in the Champions League, pretty much. And that's helped like someone like Luke with his kind of predictions. You've got to think, if he's playing in the Champions League, he's part of the strongest side of City. And I guess the only problem is Jesus' form as well. Because if Jesus plays up top and Mahrez plays on the right, then where does Foden play? I guess he can play on the left, but then there's options there. I don't know. It's a bit. I still wouldn't buy Mahrez.
I don't think there's any.
Anytime you think Mahrez is a good option, he's not.
Yeah, I don't think there's any City player really now. If there is question marks over De Bruyne and his ability to finish matches and we think that there's going to be a knock-on from this result in league as well, I'm going off the De Bruyne idea totally. And that I don't think I'd go Foden either. So I think I'll stick to the defence. And we talked about that tonight, didn't we? About if you're going to double, it's Laporte, Cancelo, or maybe Diaz as well. But yeah, I'm off the idea of KDB, I think, but I'm reserved judgment till I've seen the match myself, because all the people in chat, all the people asking questions have been watching the match and we haven't. So we need to do a bit of catching up. There is a couple of super chats. Do you want to pick on those first of all?
Thank you, everyone. Nahil Kokani says, should I do Kane and Coutinho out for Son and Richarlison for -4, free hit in 37?
Right. Well, if you're getting rid of Coutinho, if you've got your free hit in 37, you don't need to worry about Coutinho in 37 because you can get him in on that. He is kind of up there for the captaincy, isn't he? We said, we looked at the matrix today, didn't we? You're losing Kane for Son. How's he able? Oh, I see. Yeah, okay. So Son's coming in for Coutinho and Richie in for Kane. -4. I'd be tempted. I'd be tempted, I think. For me, I don't like Coutinho, and you've got to be willing to sacrifice Kane for Son, I think, at the moment.
And the big thing is in 38, Coutinho's got City and Richarlison's got Arsenal, which is a better fixture.
Yeah, and Coutinho, I don't think will play 4 games. I don't think he's going to get all 4 doubles. So, as I said, I think he'll get 3 of the 4.
Yeah, it's a luxury move, because you're taking out 2 doublers for 2 doublers. But if you've got nothing else pressing to do, then I think it's sound for -4.
Yeah, I agree with that. I'd go for it, Nahil. Yeah.
Yep. Karen S, would you include KDB and Robertson on a free hit?
For 36?
Yeah, for 36. Planning to go KDB, Salah and Mane with Chelsea and City defence. Ooh.
I wouldn't include Robertson because Robertson's going to miss one of the games, we believe. Right? All the talk is that Tsimikas will play the Villa game. I agree with that. I think he probably will. KDB is still viable, don't get me wrong. I mean, if you're playing a free hit and you've got you want to make changes that are going to make a big difference, then KDB is still a good option. I don't think I'm going to do it for a hit, which is what it would be for me personally. But with a free hit, would I still consider KDB? Yeah, probably. So Karen's saying KDB, Salah and Mane with Chelsea and City defence. Not going Trent then? I mean, surely you've got to have Trent. Yeah.
You've got to go. If you're going to go Salah and Mane, you've got to go Trent as well.
And who are you going for in the Chelsea defence? Because I think they're all rotation prone for the Leeds game. Maybe Alonso isn't, but I think
Alonso, isn't it?
Yeah. So I think Mane will get a rest in one of the 2 games as well. I think if you watch the episode, Cameron, you'll see my theory on the Liverpool lineups and the work I put in for that. Almost serial killer like detail I went into about my theory that Jota will play both games in 36. I don't think Mane will play both games. Mane's played 6 consecutive matches, and I think Mane is in the cup final team, and because of that, he's not going to play both before the cup final, because that would be 8 consecutive matches before the cup final. So I wouldn't go Mane with the free hit, because I think you're only going to get 1 game. I would prefer Jota. I honestly think Jota's got a chance of playing both games. Would I go KDB in a free hit? Yes, I think I probably still would, because he's still the best City midfielder. And if you're listing the players that you can get in on a free hit that are differentials that can make a difference in terms of their explosivity, KDB's still in there. He's got to be considered. But I'd have to watch the game to see if there's any fitness issues. What do you reckon, Az?
Well, one thing we didn't do was actually talk about free hit teams, which I've just remembered. So let me get up the one that you sent me. Just delete that. Stick that in. A bit of live jiggery pokery. So this is the free hit that you sent me before we started. So it's got Pickford in goal, Trent, Cancelo, Alonso, Son, Saka, Foden, Jota, De Bruyne, Richarlison, Nketiah. I think that would. I'm not entirely convinced about your Jota mad theory, but it's
no.
It's pretty much what I'd go with. Right? It would definitely have De Bruyne in it. It would definitely have Trent in it. You know, Richarlison and Nketiah are a gift. Son, Saka are a given. Foden's played 120 minutes, but I think I might lean to Diaz and Cancelo.
Yeah, I wouldn't go Foden now. Now I know that. I would have to explore options there. Would I just go Gordon and spend money elsewhere? I don't know. But Foden would be the one. Looking at that free hit team now, Foden's the only one I'd change. And would I make De Bruyne a captain? I don't know about that. But you got options with Son, and you've got. Well, I mean, me personally, if I was going to get Jota, I'd make Jota captain. But so this is just me with my budget and my outlook on things. I don't have Salah in here, of course. So probably the most sensible route here is you get Salah in, you go Foden for Salah, and then Jota to Gordon, which means you can afford Salah, right? So that'll be the team. But I do think Trent, Cancelo, Alonso, Pickford in goal, Richarlison and Nketiah up front. That's a pretty good core team around that. And I do think I'd go Son in the free hit because I think his form, even though the fixtures are tough. So
you wouldn't have Salah in your free hit team?
I wouldn't, because I've obviously set a policy of no Salah. Yeah. Well, I'm where I am ranked in the world. If I'm going to make a difference, I don't see the point in going Salah. I've got to not get Salah, use the money elsewhere, and hope that Salah blanks in both games, which is possible. He's had a run where he's blanked consecutively. And the point of Jota is that is covering if Liverpool have an avalanche of goals against Spurs and Villa, which I don't think they will, but if they do, Jota will get some points. So Jota could outscore Salah. He's done it for periods of the season before. So that's the theory there. That's only because my policy is I don't want Salah because I don't see the point. It's not going to get me the rank game, but definitely Salah on a free hit. If you're not looking to make outlandish risks and you're looking to cement your rank, or you're not looking for massive gains, you don't need to risk not going Salah, of course.
Yeah. I think obviously Salah would be one of the first names on my sheet. I mean, it's difficult when you've got Trent, Cancelo, Son, De Bruyne. These are all expensive options.
You can't have Salah and De Bruyne,
no. No, it's true. But maybe if you do Foden down to Diaz potentially and downgrade Pukki, maybe you can free up some money. Because Nketiah is the gift, isn't he? You could even do Saka to Martinelli potentially, and I don't know. I think I would go for Son, De Bruyne, and Salah on a free hit.
Yeah, I think you can afford it here if you go Foden to Gordon. I think you can afford the upgrade from Jota to Salah. Particularly if you downgraded Pukki to a non-playing striker or something. So I think you can get Son, Salah and De Bruyne in this team. If you're having three heavy hitters then, would it be Son, Salah, De Bruyne?
Yeah.
I think it would, wouldn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, I think it has to be. And then watch Kane score a hat-trick, hopefully.
Yeah. He's definitely out of fashion, isn't he? I mean, it makes me think that one of my best policies for gaining any rank is probably to keep him. And because I think he is amongst the most sold. I don't know what the data
when he scored, I was on live FPL, and I got a massive boost to my rank. I went from like 850 to like 600 or something. And then when Son went crazy, I went down to like 1100. So it's just, it's just a pure 50-50 split.
He's had 52k sales so far. He's the 6th most sold player. But, the players above him are Antonio, Broha, White, Reguilon, Tony. So Tony, I'm surprised to see Tony. I guess Tony again got the double. So he is shipping owners, definitely. There's no doubt there is that that trend. Sorry.
Yep.
Yeah, so I'm going to hold on to him on that basis probably and not go De Bruyne. But I think if I was free hitting, you go with those three heavy hitters, Son, Salah, De Bruyne.
I agree.
Take it off screen now. People will think I'm not endorsing Salah.
It's off. David Toft, thank you for the super chat. Did Diaz get his rest yesterday? Should I do Diaz to Foden? Don't think you.
Again, I point to what I said on the black box. I think Diaz gets one start over the double game week. I think he's in the cup final team, and therefore he's not going to start both in 36. Well, he played 120 tonight, which we didn't expect him to have to get 120 minutes, did we? It's possible. I think Foden's in his best 11, though, and he's got to pick his best 11 now, I think. So I would still think Foden starts both games, personally.
Again, with
you not think?
Nothing else pressing, I think I'd rather have Foden than Diaz. But I wouldn't use a free transfer on it, and I'm sure there must be other better moves that you can make. I don't see how that transfer could ever be like a priority move. But if it really isn't, if you've got 2 free transfers, you need to use one, and you've got nothing else that you need to do, then do it, I guess. Yeah,
I mean, I'd be happy holding Diaz and just getting the one start. He's going to come off. He's going to come off the bench in the other game as well, so he's going to get 100 minutes, or maybe 110, 120. So, I wouldn't make that move. Surely there's other things you've got to do there, and I don't think the gap, even with Diaz only getting one game, if Foden does get the 2, I don't think the gap's going to be massive because the way Diaz is playing at the moment, and we don't know how City are going to react to tonight's result either. It could go either way. It could be that they are shell-shocked, as we are, by the result. So
okay, David Toff's rephrase, is Diaz a better option than Foden for 36? I'd rather have Foden.
Yeah, I would.
Yeah.
I think I would. I wouldn't make that transfer, but I think if I was picking one of them and it was
free hit,
if I was free hitting, I would probably get Foden still. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, because I do think Diaz will only get one game.
Follows nicely to Sam O'Brien super chat. Thank you. A great show as always. Coutinho to Diaz for a -4. You don't do that, do you?
A lot of love for Diaz, isn't there? Right? Do they? I mean.
I mean, if you're not free hitting in 37, you don't want to lose Coutinho because he's got a good double in 37. If you're free hitting in 37 for a -4, no,
this is the Jota conversation again.
I wouldn't.
Right? I'm looking at Coutinho to Jota because I think Jota's going to get 2 games. I don't think Diaz is going to get 2 games because I think Diaz is in the cup final team. So if Diaz is playing the cup final, is he really going to play 2 games back to back and then play the cup final? I don't see it. When he's got Jota, he can bring in to rest Mane and then to rest Diaz. So I think, as I said in the show, I think Mane and Diaz only get 1 game each. And if I was going a Liverpool player that wasn't Salah, it would be Jota. Yeah. So I would Coutinho to Jota, yes, for a hit. If you're me, I'd do it because I'm mad and I'd probably put the captaincy on Jota. But I wouldn't recommend it really, to be honest, because I want to express caution for everybody else. Yeah. But I think Jota's a better bet.
Nahal Kokani again. Thoughts on choosing between Son and De Bruyne? Yeah, we talked about this in the show. For me, it's a 50-50. I think. Well, I'll just reiterate what I said on the show. For this week, I'd rather have De Bruyne than Son. But if I'm picking one between now and the end of the season, I'd rather have Son.
Yeah. I think after tonight, and I'd have to watch what people are talking about, I would prefer Son, full stop, to be honest. Because I think if he's taking KDB off on 72 minutes against Madrid, then he's going to take KDB off early against the Gameweek 36 opponents. And all opponents to the end. So the 4 games they got left, I don't think KDB is going to play 90 in any of them. So you're losing minutes, right? So over those 4 games, you're probably going to lose the equivalent of 60, 70 minutes, possibly, depending on how City get in those. If they're comfortable, if they're 2 or 3-0 up, KDB is going to go off. Yes, he could have got some returns in that, but he might not. We said in the show, he's got a 31% goal involvement this season for City. It's not the best goal involvement. Right? I was quite surprised at that. So there are other players around him who can get goals and assists that can establish a lead so that Pep could take him off. And I think what you're getting with Son is outstanding form at the moment in a team that are just as motivated as City to get results. I think Spurs, they want to beat Arsenal to top 4. So I think I favour Son now. I mean, again, I've got to watch tonight's game and make a diagnosis.
It depends whether you think De Bruyne going off early is a good thing or a bad thing. If he's gone off because he's so tired and he can barely walk and he's got all of his ligaments, in pain, then it's a concern. But if he's done it because he just wants to see out the game and he thinks bringing on a holding midfielder is a good idea to do.
But he bought on Gundogan. Didn't he?
Yeah.
If he bought on Fernandinho for De Bruyne, maybe, true. But I don't think he did. I think it's more a fatigue thing. Personally, which makes me concerned because it makes me think
if he missed the last game completely. How high can he bloody be?
Yeah. So I think there is a problem with him, and he needs to preserve him. And was he the first one off? He was the first one off. He came off on 72 with Walker. Now Walker came off because he's only just come back. Right. So that was definitely a fitness thing. So was De Bruyne also that? You've got to think it is because he was first off with Walker, who was definitely a fitness thing. I think De Bruyne is as well. We're guessing because we haven't seen the circumstances. But he brought him on for Gundogan. Gundogan for De Bruyne is not quite a straight swap. Gundogan can play deeper. But if he was shoring things up, he surely would have gone De Bruyne to Fernandinho, and he didn't. He went De Bruyne to Gundogan. So I don't buy it. I think it's a fatigue thing, which says to me, if he can't risk him in a game against Madrid when he's just had a rest, he's just come off a complete rest, and he only played 72 minutes. So that means he's surely not going to finish any game on that basis, because this is the biggest game they've got left, single game. So it worries me enough to make me think I'd rather go Son now. But again, I want to watch and see the circumstances.
I still think with a free hit, De Bruyne has the bigger upside than Son. Just purely for this week.
Well,
but
you get both in a free hit.
Yeah, I mean it's very close, to be fair. J Rock, he's thinking of selling Jota this week. Mark,
is he?
Blasphemy.
Where's this? Well, Blasphemy. You can do that, J Rock. My theory is he starts against Spurs, and my theory is he starts against Villa, because I think Mane and Diaz are going to be rested over the 2 games. And I think Jota will want to get in that cup final team, and his best way of getting in the cup final team is scoring goals in those 2 games. So it's a risk, but I wouldn't sell him. If I had him, I'd be holding him 100%. 100%. I think he could be a great differential.
Gruff Koff says, Mark promised to do short deadline videos as soon as his shed is done. Is this still in your plans for next season? Then he says,
Did I?
And he says, I think you did, actually. Yeah, you said you were going to do some of the short ones.
Yeah, I did one, didn't I? And I really enjoyed it. It's just, the problem is I can't guarantee I'll get free on a Saturday morning, because the kids have classes. My partner takes them to the classes. Sometimes I take them to classes. And I can't sort of say to my partner, I can't take them to the class because I've got to do a video, because she'll go, what? What are you doing? You're back to doing that again. Yeah. So I have to be careful. So I can't commit to anything. I'd love to do more though next season. I mean, my job is changing. So I'm not working to the same intensity I was for the last year and a half, that's for sure. So I will have more energy, more time in the evenings where I'm not going to be absolutely exhausted like I have been for the last year and a half. So I'll be less inclined to think about weekends as I've just got to recover, ready for the next week ahead. It's going to be more about, I can do some things at weekends now because I've got some energy. So yeah, I can't make promises, but I hope to, because it'd be really nice to do more content, wouldn't it, next year?
Yeah, I think we're planning on doing more, aren't we, next season? Getting Luke involved more. Whether Luke is a kind of a regular every week, I think is probably a stretch because of his work kind of commitments, but definitely getting him involved more in BlackBox, maybe once a month, something like that, and maybe doing some other little videos with him on the side, potentially doing apprentice stuff again, maybe doing a bit more with that. Yeah, there's definitely lots of things that we can do. It's just the time, isn't it? It's just kind of finding the time to...
Yeah. And I don't think we can commit to we commit to doing one show a week. We're definitely going to keep doing that, but exactly. We want to throw in some...
extra.
Yeah, we'll do it as we can ad hoc, I think. Yeah.
Thank you to... Hang on. Thank you to Abhishek Kumar and Karen S as well. No questions, just donation. Ryan, Chipless Eddie... Richie, Robbo, or Diaz? A thumbs up or a thumbs down? Is he asking which of those is the best option? I'm guessing
I'm trying to find his question here.
Nketiah.
Say that again, I can't.
Well, it says Chipless Eddie over Richie, Robbo, or over Diaz. And then a thumbs up or a thumbs down.
Right, so he's chipless. So Eddie over...
I think he's asking who's better, Nketiah, Robertson, or Diaz.
Who would you go with for a transfer in?
Yeah. But then I don't understand the thumbs up or the thumbs down at the end.
Is it Diaz or Diaz?
These are all good questions.
Right. Clarify, can you?
Assuming it's Diaz, because it's spelled with the S and not the Z, I would...
Oh, okay.
Richie, Robert.
I quite like Diaz.
That could be Richarlison or Robertson.
Yeah, I mean, I'm all about Richarlison this week. I see it now, chipless. Eddie to Richarlison, Robbo to Diaz. Right, okay, so... Does he move Nketiah to Richie, and does he move Robbo to Diaz? I like both those moves.
Well, to be honest, well done for working. I would not have got there. I definitely am tired.
Yeah. So I mean, Nketiah is a hard sell because I think he'll do all right, but I think Richarlison's a really good pick for the fixtures they've got. If we looked at the defensive data on the show. Yeah, I don't know what you were doing there. If you look at the data, if you watch the show and you see what we looked at for the data with Richarlison's improvement on attacking data, Everton's improvement in attacking data, the opponent data pointed to the fact that they're playing two teams that Everton could score against. Then he's got two good home games. So I think Richarlison's an important sign-in. And Robertson, I don't think will play the Villa game. So you're going to get the Spurs game, and I do think Spurs will score. So I think what you're going to get from Robertson is probably 2 points, or you're banking on attacking return. Whereas I think Diaz could start both City games. And I think if, having gone out of Europe, he's got to play his strongest team surely every game. So I think Diaz will start them both. So I'm thinking of going Robertson to Diaz myself as part of a -16.
Wow.
So yeah, I like those moves. Ryan. I'd do it, particularly if they're for free. Yeah.
I think I might have just swallowed a bug in my water.
Oh, really?
Yeah, something felt a bit weird.
Okay.
If anyone can watch that back and just see if there's some kind of fly or something in my water, that'd be lovely. We had a few more. Thank you, Graf Philkoff, for the super chat. Really nice. Again, no question. But yeah, we do really appreciate all these. It's really nice of you to be super chatting us. Nick Giordano, plan was to use my free transfer for either James to Laporte, Havertz to Foden, or Werner to Jesus. Not sure which. Now I'm even less sure. I've only got Cancelo. Should I just roll?
So he's trying to get another City player in.
Yeah. That is really
It's James to Laporte for me, I think.
Same.
Of those three, it'd be that one.
Same.
Because Jesus, not certain to play both. Foden, more certain to play both, but what are you going to get? And actually, Havertz with the fixtures, you might only need one game to outscore him anyway.
Well, look, top of my cheat
James,
sheet, Havertz.
Yeah, James won't play both games. He won't play the Leeds game. No way. Because he's going to be in the cup final, and Tuchel's going to be very wary of stretching him. He's not going to play him over both games. He doesn't need to either, because he's got Dave out there who can play right wing back, and he can bring Chalobah in right centre back. So, whereas Alonso, he hasn't really got an option. He's got Salah, but that's a downgrade, isn't it? To the extent where I think it would harm the team too much. So I personally would, if of those three, it would be James to Laporte or James to Diaz. And I like the move. I think if it's a free, it's worth doing. So I would probably do that, Nick. Yeah.
I wouldn't do any of them. I think holding.
Okay.
I think
keep
holding,
James, would you?
Yeah, I'd hold James. I think he's got the Watford game in 38, good game in 37. I think he plays one of the double, and I know you can't just look at his points. He impressed me so much in that Man United game, and they were just poor in the last match. But
he's been unfortunate. He has been unfortunate. I think the only issue for me with keeping him is Chelsea's clean sheets aren't really guaranteed, are they, at the moment? They're making so many defensive errors. But on the plus side, Tuchel did say, look, we've got to stop with these defensive errors. So he's going to be much more inclined to hit the defensive side in training, going into these games, determined to keep clean sheets. And maybe they'll go back to, it'll hit their attacking returns, but defensively they'll be sounder. So maybe it'll have the opposite effect. But that's my only. I mean, with Laporte, you're booking in, I would say, 3 clean sheets over the last 4, whereas you can't say that for James. You are hoping that you get.
Well, you thought that, but then they conceded to Watford.
I know.
At least with James, you've got the fallback of goals and assists. You don't really get anything with Laporte.
They only did that because I had 2 City defenders.
So did I.
Yeah.
Bloody hell. Nightmare. Yeah. Mark says, okay, you say James Laporte. I say hold.
Okay.
Karen S, Sterling owner, would you stick with him on a free hit and hope luck strikes? We hate Sterling. I mean, he's on my wall, but he is in the bad books.
I don't hate Sterling.
Well, it's 2 free hits now for us. That he missed a penalty last year for us.
Yeah, but he is like quite unique in that he's an asset where he's incredibly explosive on his day, isn't he? And over the season he's going to have 3 or 4 of these double figure returns probably. And you've just got to hit the timing. He's impossible really to have long term low, I think, but on a free hit, he's worth a go, definitely. He didn't start today, did he? So it really depends on whether you think the 120 minutes for Foden, for example, will mean that Sterling's more likely to start. Could be.
I don't want to put people off going for players like that because it's a free hit. Sterling could hit a hat-trick in one of those games, and you don't listen to us saying don't go for it. If you think he's an elite player, we know what he's capable of. He's brilliant. You can get the rub of the green with him, and he could go crazy. Would I have him on a free hit? No. But I'm not going to say to you don't get him.
Yeah, I'd rather have De Bruyne.
Yeah,
I think because he's much more middle of the road, safe pick. But if you're trying to make up ground, it's a bit like the Jota pick. Then he's a good one to go for because he can be devastating. He can hit a hat trick. De Bruyne's not going to do that. He's got a higher ceiling than De Bruyne, but he's nowhere near as consistent, is he? So that's the risk you run.
Yep. We'll take 2 more super chats and then we will finish. Now says, wasn't Sterling in the bin? He was indeed after that penalty miss.
He was. That was great, wasn't it?
Todd Kirschke. I'm sorry if I butchered that name. Probably have. Free hitting in 37. Selling Ronaldo for Richarlison. Yeah, Ronaldo's done well, isn't he, for the people that got him? He was brilliant as well against Brentford. Need to shop my weak defence, replacing Cody. Anyone but Cancelo. P.S. I usually listen to your show twice. So that's a hell of a commitment. That's like 4 hours.
4 hours.
4 hours.
Yeah, that's because he can't believe what Az has said, and he has to listen it back to make sure he has said what he said. That's what it is.
Right, yeah.
Oh dear, what would you do? So he wants better defenders. Well,
Richarlison's a good move.
Trent's a given. Yeah, I mean I think, as I said, Richarlison, I'm well behind for this week. In defence, for me, other than Cancelo and Trent, it's Laporte or Diaz. You can go either. I think they'll both play both games, and it's Alonso.
Yeah,
I think Alonso's the best pick out of the Chelsea defence. Outside of that, I'd probably go Cash or Dina. I don't think I'd go anywhere else. Would you look anywhere else for a defender?
I don't think I'd go Cash or Dina if I was free hitting in 37, because obviously they've got Liverpool in 36, and then
you don't need
City
to.
in 38. I think Alonso, it's Trent, Cancelo, Alonso.
It's the 3, isn't it?
It's those 3. Yeah, I mean, you don't go near an Everton defender. You don't go near I mean, here's a name for you, Mikalenko.
I've got better than that. I think Mina's a better bet. I spoke earlier, right, and clip this one, right, about Watford and Leicester at set plays. Watford and Leicester are weak at set plays. Yerry Mina is a beast at set pieces. Everton are really poor at converting corners and set pieces. I think they're bottom or near the bottom for actually goals from set pieces this season. But then they haven't had Mina in the team, and he is someone who's a target at set pieces. If you were really, really rolling the dice on a free hit, I wouldn't mind going for Yerry Mina. Is he going to play both games? Don't know. He's only just come back. But he might have a goal in him, because I do think Leicester and Watford are massively weak at set pieces, as we know, and he's going to be a big threat to them at set plays.
I would be absolutely astounded if Mina didn't play both games. If they can get anything on, if he's remotely fit, they play him, because their options are so there. There you go.
So there you go. It's the kind of pick I used to give. Yerry Mina, go for him in a free hit. See if you can get a double figure out of him. Yeah,
I like Mikalenko. There you go, playing at wing back, missing not an open goal, but missing a really good chance against Chelsea in the last match. And the final super chat of the night is from David Toft. Havertz to any 8 million or less midfielder for a -4, and then free hit in 37.
Jota.
I just wouldn't lose Havertz.
He's not 8 million less, is he?
Him.
Wouldn't you?
No, not for a -4.
Oh, I can't. I mean, Havertz. Do you want to do a bit on Havertz? What a frustrating player.
Great player, always said.
No, he's not. He's not. He's not, is he? It's like, he's very graceful, got a great first touch. He could be a good player, right? But I still don't like his end product. He's still some way off, I think, in terms of his end product. He's not. He hasn't got the finishing of a striker. I don't care what anyone says. Obviously, he can score a goal and you go, what a great finish now and again. But he missed chances in that Everton game. And every time I've owned him and watched him in detail, he hasn't really impressed me. He hasn't really looked dangerous enough. So I think he's still got some way to go before he's really up there with even Mason Mount. I think I'd still prefer Mason Mount to Havertz. I think end product wise, he's got the edge on him. So I wouldn't hold Havertz really, because he frustrates me. So it's a personal thing. Who would I go with for though? If you can't stretch the Jota at 8.3 because you want 8 million or less. So who have we got in the 8 million or less bracket? As you got the midfielders up here. Let's have a quick look.
Yeah, so I switched over to player data because Havertz is fifth in the player data for minutes per XGI non-penalty.
Yeah, his data's great, always is, but 1 goal, 1 assist.
Yeah,
that's the thing. Right?
I mean, it's. I think I would keep him, or you switch over to Foden.
Yeah, Saka. If you don't have him, definitely.
Yeah,
we didn't really talk about Saka, but
he's just a lock, isn't he?
But we didn't talk about him with the captaincy either. And I don't think we should overlook him for the captaincy. He scored against both the teams he plays. He scored against earlier in the season, and he's one that I've got, and I haven't really dismissed him as a captaincy option either. So if you haven't got Saka, I mean that's a no-brainer, I think. But yeah, Foden would probably be the way if I was getting rid of Havertz, and I would be tempted to get rid. I really would. I'd try and get the extra money to get Jota. Have I mentioned Jota at all?
Stuff like that. I'd keep Havertz. He's fifth on the list for expected goal involvement. I don't care what anyone says. Lukaku is still not really a factor. I think Havertz playing.
No, he's not.
He's at a rest now. 2 good games for Chelsea. I think you could regret selling him, personally.
Yeah, possibly.
Yeah, always said.
It's just a personal thing for me.
Great player. Never said anything different. That's it. Yeah. We done done way more than we thought. How long have we been? God, they fly by these, aren't they? 37 minutes.
We've got to get the podcast out before we go to bed.
Yep.
And then we'll be back next week, won't we? I think Luke will be back next week, won't he?
Yes, he will. Yep. 2 more. Just 2 more to go. And then
it's going to be sad, isn't it?
There may be an end of season review type thing.
Oh, definitely. We're going to cut my season to ribbons.
We got to. That's the Black Box way. Yeah. Right. Well, thanks everyone for watching. Thank you all for the support and the super chats. And we will be back next week.
Bye-bye.